to the channel, and in this video we're doing a recap and review of Married at First Sight, Season 12, Episode 10, Third Weeks of Charm, Chris and Paige. So, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications so you'll be notified every time we post. Also, drop a comment section down in the comment section below, and also if you like the video, smash that like button as well. So, without further ado, let's jump into this video. So we begin with Chris and Paige on day 24, where we're having the couples hoping to unlock new levels of trust and intimacy in an attempt to strengthen and deepen their marriages. However, when it comes to Chris and Paige, they made a commitment to start over with the hopes of being cordial and amicable with one another. So if you remember last week's episode, they decided to put each other in the friend zone and do a reset. However, Paige says she hadn't heard from Chris, and he never answers her phone calls. And I think she said that she hadn't heard from him in like 2 days. So I think it was 2 days since that last interaction that they had and the reset conversation. And then now 2 days later, she had not heard from him. And she told the cameras, what are we doing? However, as we saw right on cue that night, we did see Chris show up at Paige's apartment. Because they were going to sit down with a chat with Dr. Viviana. And, they were pretty cordial with each other. Chris and Paige definitely, Paige was happy to see that he was able to show up. And it seems that Chris was also looking forward and open to having that same conversation with Dr. Viviana. But the biggest thing is the fact that she hadn't heard from him in a couple days, so she didn't know pretty much where they stood with each other. So in the meantime, as they waited for Dr. Viviana to show up, there was this awkward silence that we saw on TV. So I don't know if we're missing some things or whether there's some something that was edited out. I don't know, but it was really awkward silence because he was looking at the phone and, she didn't have anything to say as well. So it was just the two of them on the couch, just on one end and the other. So now Dr. Viviana, she does show up, and we hear Chris say, in a confessional, I have paused my thoughts for divorce for now. However, Dr. Viviana dove right in when she sat down with the couple and directed her focus on Chris and the pattern of behavior that has been seen from the previous episodes. Dr. Viviana told him, I feel like I hardly know you. The person who we met and got to know that we matched, and the person literally once you got married is so different. And she wanted to know why. And of course, Chris insisted that pre-wedding Chris was who he always has been, and post-wedding Chris was the one that found out his ex-fiancée Mercedes was pregnant, and it put him in a depressive state. Chris admitted that he had lost his bearings and didn't know how to make the right decision. And he just said everything was just really confusing. Dr. Viviana acknowledged Chris's situation, saying that, that'll be a lot for anyone to handle. And Paige admitted that she felt like she was living in a nightmare and was devastated upon hearing the news about Chris's ex. Paige also said that she felt secondary in her marriage. And so, of course, when Dr. Viviana asked why was she staying with the marriage, Paige said God had intended for her to be a supportive wife in spite of everything that was going on. Paige told Chris that she desired more contact and really hoped for at least a phone call once or twice a day, just the basics. And she said, it's like she's in middle school, she had described it as. Chris, however, responded with, I don't want to feel pressure, and it feels kind of forced, like slightly. Dr. Viviana told Chris that Paige wasn't asking for much, the bare minimum actually, and if Chris wasn't willing to do that, it's probably time to have a different conversation, like parting ways or divorcing, which he's been saying off and on for the past 9 episodes. Dr. Viviana told Chris what he would need to do is change his idea on what was motivating him. And, Paige, she had pretty much complained that all this is just BS. She never thought that she had to pressure someone to call me or be consistent. She said that I'm not in the business of wasting anybody's time. I don't want my time to be wasted either. So I'm just in a place where I'm frustrated because you literally made a step forward and now we're taking 3 steps back. And, Paige asked, what do you want to do that you would be comfortable with? And Chris said that he would have, prefer to have in-person hangout sessions, like going for a walk or having dinner together rather than texting or talking on the phone. Again, Chris is saying that this is just so confusing, which, of course, had Paige to question, then what are we doing? So it honestly, and he even said in this particular episode that he's just not 100% all in. And when if the situation is forced with anybody in it, this is what the result looks like. I mean, she's trying to work toward the marriage. He seems like he says he's not 100% all in. And, of course, Dr. Viviana is trying to probe the situation to see, is there anything with this? But, I mean, she even, the question that she asked Paige, then why are you sticking with this? And Paige is committed. She mentioned things about covenant. And this is something that she's willing to see all the way through to the end of the process. And, it's an interesting thing to watch, with this. And, of course, we're going to cover some other things later. But, you should never be in a situation where things feel forced, where things feel coerced, or you feel like you're being strictly held to, if both of these two don't want to be, and I think from what I'm hearing, Pastor Cal and some of the other experts gave her an out and she just didn't take it. But it's just not working with these two. There's some incompatibilities. They do have some things in common, but it's just not working with the two of them. And so either she take Dr. Viviana's advice or they see this process through, and we're going to continue to see what we're going to see. And that's what this comes down to. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic to watch. We probably have another maybe 5 more episodes or so, because I think the new Unmatchables come on April 21st. So we only have a few more weeks left of this season 12. But I digress. However, this is now where Paige tried to explore the boundaries of their new friendship. As I said again, friendship with Chris. So she made a schedule when the couple can get together and wanted to know the activity for that day and what their desired outcome is going to be. However, she put the idea of playing card games. He rejected the recommendation of playing card games or watching movies. Instead, he suggested playing basketball, which, of course, Paige did not know how to play. And, of course, the conversation went into bringing up dinner and having them do Bible study. And he was open to that. He said that it was important to include God into their relationship because up to this point, he said that God has not been so far. So it might be exactly what they need, to be honest with you. And he said that in a confessional. But I don't know, this whole thing about trying to schedule. And it's probably something that Dr. Viviana told them, is to plan out a schedule for, them to plan activities and things like that. I believe in organic. Things happen naturally. It's more easy. It's more fun that way. If you have to do that, then whatever works for you. But in a situation where it's more natural, where it's like, hey, or spontaneity, that's just my take on it. Let me know what your thoughts are. But, like I said, they did agree upon a Bible study. And as he said, they need to include God into their relationship, saying that it might be exactly what they need. So it then came time for Paige and Chris evening together, where sent out shout outs because I am a Chicago girl, so I know what that Harold's Chicken is about. So he repped our favorite West Side and South Side chicken. Anywho, he brought Harold's Chicken from Chicago over to her apartment, and Chris hoped that they can bond based on their spiritual backgrounds. Chris, however, came unprepared when it came to what scripture they were going to talk about. And I saw some posts on social media about the dress that she had on and everything, and him bringing food. And so you'll know where that goes. I'm not going to go into detail, but they pulled out that Harold's Chicken and had a sit-down conversation. And, what they brought up, Chris, they had to say a prayer, and he let her do it. He also mentioned something about the fact of holding hands during prayer. And so she was like, yeah, give me your hand. So they held hands while they prayed over the food. And, Paige asked him to share the scripture that he came up with. And, he was unprepared, but Paige came up with the scripture, and she read Isaiah 55, even took notes on what Chris was saying. And, Paige and Chris discussed how they should trust someone that they're in a covenant with. And, Paige also was talking about the fact that Chris, didn't force a conversation about his ex-fiance, or she didn't want to force a conversation about the ex-fiance in fear that it would elevate the situation and push him off the ledge. But, Paige also said she had given Chris space. She had been negligent and left him feeling alone in the matter, which he apparently regretted. Then another conversation started. This is when Chris started speaking of his ex Mercedes and his baby, and Chris shared with Paige how he had purchased his pregnant ex-fiance a brand new Mercedes Benz. 6 years, I guess, Mercedes got into a car accident and it was really bad. The car was totaled. And she almost lost her life. So she hadn't driven since then or owned a vehicle in 6 years. Chris explained, that Mercedes had therefore been using rideshare to get around, and he wanted to make sure that she had transportation to doctor's appointments and everything. And Chris said that Mercedes, he wanted her to feel comfortable driving by the time she welcomed the child into the world, and he felt I needed to be straightforward with Paige about that. And Paige was like, what? A brand new car? And I get the transportation aspect, she said, but no man will want the mother of their child riding in especially an honest man, she said, will want the mother of their child riding around in a rideshare train or bus with a newborn baby, but a brand new car? And Chris replied, why shouldn't it be brand new? I'm bringing a king or queen into the world, so they need to be riding around in a chariot. And Paige basically rolled her eyes and didn't appear to be happy about the news at all. So, the thing is, I don't think too many women, some, not all, would definitely be happy about that. But I did see, because I always like to share with you guys, information. And obviously, because I know there's like, oh, he didn't buy it, he can't afford a car. Well, they bought the car, and she even posted, the fact of her getting the car. And if you want to pause it and read her comment. But she did post about the fact of getting the car, and this happened somewhere around the end of September, I think 25th of September to be exact. and how Chris was the one that was implemental in helping her get the vehicle. So I know that that question was going to come up, so I want to make sure that I put that in there, because that would have been a topic for conversation in the comment section. So let's do our post notification shout out. And this week it goes to Ursula Woodall. Thank you so much for engaging in the channel, and I really appreciate it. And until the next video, like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you soon.